Right, Ledgers, can everybody hear me? And can you all see a Prime XBT website? Let's get the necessities out the way with, and we'll get stuck straight in. And continuation from last week's plans. Excellent, excellent. Hope you all had a great weekend and happy Eid to those celebrating. New month, so new opportunities, and I'll share my thoughts on Bitcoin, obviously. Ethereum, we'll do a bit of look at the VIX as well and the equities. There were at points where I could have found cases for both sides of the market, but eventually I think but the way things are looking, unless things change, which I'll mark out, I think lower, but it is where it is. So welcome once again to For Bitcoin for Ledgers weekly live stream. Before we start, I want to say thanks to our partner and sponsor of the stream, Prime XBT, for making this happen. So check them out. Check the link in the description. And a few people had issues. Maybe next stream I'll go over it. But the way to do the promo code is you sign up using the link, and then you go to the settings bar, and then you insert the promo code, and then you get the deposit bonus. Those for those that were asking. So if that's used, then obviously they keep the stream going. And lastly, nothing in this video constitutes financial advice. You should always seek the help of advice of a financial professional before departing with your capital. So it's all for entertainment purposes. So let's get stuck straight in. How's everybody? Eid Mubarak to everybody here as well. Share the video if you can. Just get the likes going, get the YouTube algos going. So let's start with Bitcoin, last week's video, okay? So if you remember, I'm going to quickly do a recap of last week, and then we'll do a bigger picture view with a clean chart, and then we'll zoom back in. So if you remember last week's video, there was a low here. If you remember, we called the low here more or less, okay? And I did a snippet video as well as to why I thought, you know what, maybe this is a low for a jump, for a short term. Okay, gonna buy some goons. That was an honorary for me. I'm gonna check them out properly, but that was an honorary NFT. I post anybody that gives me honoraries. Loads of people give me free honoraries. If you look through my feed, if I like it, I'll post it. I mean, I think it looks nice, but yeah, it's a free honorary they gave me. So if you look at this, right, this was, I'm not going to the detail, but there's two plan. One was the long with a clear invalidation. Okay, here aggressive, and I said the way I approach that is I do a smaller risk, and then when it confirms, once it got above there was the confirmation where the low is confirmed. And I said, you gotta be careful because the higher time for context still said lower down. Okay? So whenever we're playing counter trend trades, you gotta be aware of that. First target was here, if you remember, hit that perfectly, reacted, and then I said, okay, I don't know what happens after that. Another attempt would have been here for the retest play. It went up, first target again, and then the breakout play. Now, the breakout play, I said, although this would be the next objective ultimately, on the way there's going to be targets along the way as well. And I said, don't get too excited, but because if it's downtrend, it won't exactly get to the extreme end, and it'll form a lower high. Which what it did? Look what it did. It formed a lower high here. Okay, and I said on the way there, your targets are going to be here. Okay, and then here. Ultimately, it didn't quite get there, and I had a separate plan for there. If you look at the feed, it was a different chart, but something like this, it didn't quite do that. So it actually hit both targets there, okay? Now, I was early on a short, which I then got back in, which I'll show on a different chart, but that was more or less it. Now, look what we're at. We're back below this weekly, the Monday's range from a couple of weeks ago, and the reason why I've still got that Monday's range is because most of the price action I've been stuck within that really. And if you look at this now, just for this observation alone, without looking at anything else, it's sort of failing to reclaim back above that. So you can see that it's starting to displace, it's starting to distribute away from that now, which sets me a bearish tone, unless there's some big nuke rally candle, okay? It doesn't look too good, to be honest with you. Now, from a clean chart perspective, which we'll go over now, before we do the other main chart, which is this chart, this was just the range level, SR level, sorry, okay? And one of the scenarios was that if it deviates, if it reclaims back above here cleanly, then that would be okay. You know what? Most likely going to push back up. It couldn't, so I did do a small short, and then when it got there, I sort of cut it. Okay, but as soon as it got back below it, because it's watching this candle, So I know if I've not followed my Twitter stream, I saw an update at the same time. It was like this. It was a full-on bearish candle at one point. And I said, okay, if they close like this, then they're kind of fucked, aren't we? Okay? And it did the deviation, it held. So much in the price action here. So if you go to the lower time frame, although this can still give you a little scalp opportunity, it went straight up. And I'm watching this and then little bounce, but no, nothing prolonged here. Okay? Where I could say, okay, it's retested it, it's holding. That would have given me confidence that, okay, they've retested it, they're holding. It didn't give me that. As soon as it got back below, I said, fuck, this is game over. It broke down, retest. That was your short takeout. That low, and I thought 37k. It hasn't quite reached 37k, but it might do later on. Okay, that's done now. Okay, and let's start with the clean chart. Okay, so going by this chart alone, it does suggest to me it's looking like it wants to take out these lows next, and then ultimately this is the range lows based on this range here. And then after that, who knows? Is it going to be a bottom, or is it going to range, or is it going to go? I don't know. I don't care. We'll map out those scenarios. But for now, I think it goes lower. Now, what we're going to compare that to, and I'm going to do the bigger picture chart, is going to be ES. Okay? I mean, this ain't looking pretty, is it? Looking at ES right now, I mean, oof. I mean, could it be the case where, you know, it just does that quick down with a push up? I don't know. But looking at this chart, I mean, does this look bullish? Not to me. Okay? So, let's start now. So, there's over 264. Let's get to 100 likes. Or else we're going to have Bull Bitcoin on. Bitcoin or Bitcoin, whatever. He's gonna share some, I think, how he uses moving averages, and maybe just update guys what he's been up to. But yeah, I'm looking forward to his, how he uses moving averages. So I tried to bring on different people. We've had a few order flow guys on, different styles. Just looking at different styles of guys you can bring on, and they can share the way they do. And if they want to share their own stuff, that's up to them. But yeah. You can like it, you don't have to like it doesn't really make a difference to me. Anyway, let's start now. Let's clean chart now. So before we continue, okay, the wrong chart. I apologize. 1 second. There we go. I'm looking for a clean chart. Let's look at it from a bigger picture perspective. Let's look at the yearly. What's that shaping? Why? Because now that we got a new monthly candle, a new monthly candle means new range expansion. Okay. So if we look at the bigger picture, where are we within the current year? We are well below the. So I'm going to start from scratch. We are well below the midpoint of the year. Okay? And the midpoint for the year comes in at... So we're going to mark a few key levels, how I draw my ranges for the year. So actually I should have just started like this. My bad. Let me start from the scratch. So we got the yearly high, 2021 high. So let's mark that out. So this will be important for us going forward. So we'll do that like this. And then we're going to do 2021 low. The mid-range. And then... obviously it's going to be different exchanges. 48,367. 48,367. 48,367. The mid range for the year, last year. And then we're going to do the midpoint of that. So the midpoint of that comes in at, and we only need to focus on the bottom midpoint. I'll draw it out anyway, but we don't really need to. Just remember the range levels. 38,050. And this is made, the reason why I do this is more or less gives me where do we navigate towards when it comes to the higher time frame. It doesn't really have to be the be all and end all, okay? It's just an approach I use, and if you see value in it, maybe you can try it yourself, see if it helps. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, well, it doesn't. 58,683. So when I'm approaching from top down, this is what I usually do. So remember what this range is. Last year's high, last year's low, and the midpoint, and then the midpoint of that. Now you can see right now how the midpoint of this, without even looking at any, so all I've done is taken the high of the year to the low of the year, check, and then the midpoint, and then look at that, you can see it's a natural SR region, okay? So naturally, if it breaks below here, we'll run towards this, and I bet you this point near enough comes in the midpoint of that as well. So you can even split that into a midpoint. I won't do it, but you can see how that capped the downside, and if you eyeball it, that's more or less the midpoint of that range. Okay, now that's covered. So we're leaning bearish, okay? But where is the trigger is the question, okay? So let's go to the monthly now. And what are we anticipating? If we are anticipating a down month, okay, because we have 2 up moves, and if you think about it, has anything really changed? I mean, there's 2 scenarios to this, okay? Let's mark out the bigger picture scenario. One is some sort of like, I don't know if you want to call this a flag anymore, but some sort of like this. Or is it going to do something like this? It's gonna be prepared. Okay, is it gonna do something like this and then reclaim, or is it just gonna go up from here? Fuck knows. But this is what we're here for. But I believe we're gonna go lower for the reasons I'm gonna give. Okay, and where I believe I'm gonna be wrong. So we're gonna start off with the monthly open. I mean, that's quite a bearish candle. Now, often you find one of the biggest bearish candles, even if it is gonna go low, it can give you that big jump against you. And then now all this could just be a spike for May. That's only 2 days in, okay? But it could be the spike. So what we're going to be doing is looking to play the expansion of the monthly candle. And because everything's lined up for a breakout, which I'll explain again, why I believe it's going to be a breakout based on the weekly. If I'm correct, it should be quick. If I'm wrong, well, we can quickly flip and take the long as well. So, May open, okay? Let's do that right now. Now, coupled with the fact that the higher time frame suggesting probably lower prices, maybe towards about 28k, 29k region, or even here. After that, I don't know what's going to happen, because sometimes it's not really going to be a perfect retest. Remember this, if they are going to nuke the market, right, it's not usually going to be perfect. It's probably going to squeeze a lot lower than we like. So what you do is, once that's over with, I usually let the deviation unfold, maybe some sort of short-term plays around here if it does fold. But once it does reclaim, then it's game on. And then we're going to start looking for the serious long plays. Maybe alts probably be the better plays. But let's carry on forward now. Now let's go to the weekly. And this is why I believe it's going to expand. Now if you remember, what was the weekly candle we were in that suggested to us that I've been using all this time to say it's range bound until we break this. So if I look at this right now, this is going to be the important part as to how I anticipate range expansion. That's the weekly high there, that weekly candle there, that weekly candle low there. Now what happened was we were stuck within that, weren't we? So we had this expansion, then we deviated, we got above there last week, and then we closed below it. That close below suggests to me, okay, now we're ready to expand out of this weekly range, coupled with the higher time frame level on this chart breaking down. Where's it gone? Shit. Here, holding below that, which sort of supports my idea that we're gonna go lower probability wise. But if it does reclaim, it's our market to flip bias. So far, is it clear what I'm saying? Is everybody with me before I continue? So based on the fact that, okay, high time frame suggesting lower, the monthly looking shit, broken out of the SR level we mentioned, and this range now. So that puts us on to, okay, where's the next objective? Back to the monthly chart. We were speaking about where's the next, on a monthly basis, where are the targets? Let's mark out those targets each one at a time now. It's going to be those monthly lows that's going to be targeting, right? So that's one there. Listen, don't start mentioning others. Let me get through these first. There's no point mentioning your coins or other markets. We're doing this now, okay? No, I don't use volume profile. No, I don't. We will get, I'll try to get through as much as I can. I will try to cover gold if I can, but just be patient. Let me just get through these. So now I'm going to mention objectives now, okay? We don't need to go to the extreme end. Let's go for the easy targets, okay? They don't... Yeah, it looks like it wants to, but there's no confirmation. I don't know, what's your confirmation? What's the confirmation you look for? I'm not sure. So, okay, we mentioned, okay, if you're looking for that confirmation, okay, that's fine. Ask yourself this, okay? If I was to take a trade here, okay, so say you want to take a trade, this is one approach I use. Sometimes, where if for whatever reason, we're on the brink of a big breakout, okay, and okay, stop mentioning the coins, because if you keep mentioning coins, I'm not going to go over them because it's distracting. Hello, name. So, if I was to take the short, so if you got firm belief, okay, you know what, I think this market's going lower, where's it going to go towards? I don't know, say you got a reason to believe it here. Because think about it, right? After all this leg up, okay, I don't care, I know it's all that high, where the stop's going to be resting, okay, short term here, but it's going to be at the swing low, isn't it? It's the swing low that needs to get breached, okay? Now, does it have to get breached? No. Is that key support? Yes. But if you were to ask me, I want to short this market, okay, just as an example's sake, but I don't have quite the entry I want, and at the same time, I'm worried it might go without me. Well, where's your invalidation? Entry based on invalidation is going to be here, technically, right? Unless there's swing failure, if you'd ask me, if we're going to go with lower highs and lower lows, okay, that's sort of not the neatest, but you get the picture. Where's going to be my target? Most likely towards here. Is there a target before that? I always like to go targets before that. I mean, short term here, but we're more or less there anyway. my target would be here. Now, this is just building up a thesis, because that, if that's invalidated, automatically I switch to longs. Now you don't have to take it, but if you build up a thesis as to where would the shorts be wrong, okay, then what you do is, if you're a bull, you wait for that to happen, and if once they're invalidated, then you automatically get your long trigger. Okay. Oh, sorry, scary balls. Misunderstood you. About 50 chats here. Okay. Okay, so if you're looking at this, okay, that would be objective. Even before that, why is the consolidation? So my invalidation would be there. Is that good enough for me? No. I mean, it's quite. I mean, risk reward wise, I'm not taking this short. We're just gonna work out if the risk to reward is good, because the risk to reward must line up, doesn't it? Say if I shorted it there, just as an example sake. Okay, so it's more than 1-to-1, and that can evolve. I mean, that's the ultimate target, okay? But here it's more than 1-to-1. That's the starting point. If I didn't want to miss the trade, sometimes the way I'm trading anyway. Now, if it was to reclaim back above here, a swing failure is fine. I accept that. That's the reason why I keep my invalidation there. Okay. However, if I had the chance to, if it was to go back over here, consolidate and hold above, then I would look to exit way before it even got to that. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's scenario one. Okay. Now it is a Monday. It's bank holiday across most of the countries. What is it? Or is it just UK? God knows. But that would be the scenario here. Scenario two is okay. Well, nice clean highs here. If it does do something like this, this is a line in the sun. We do not want it to get above here. Just to remind everybody, what's that? It's that weekly level I mentioned. So it's another scenario is, well, I think these stops have already been taken here. The week cancel shouldn't go above there. But worst case scenario is, say, you know, whatever, that's the Monday's high. Say that's the Monday's high set for the day. What's the range for today? Split it up. So far, I mean, the low of the day is there. After we get a raid on Monday's high, so that's gonna be tomorrow. If that's held intact, that's the key level. We can't really breach that by too much. Scenario one, and that's acting as our range low. We'll run up, okay. We'll wait for it to get back below, and as soon as it gets back below, starts breaking down. That's your short trigger. Cut any clean break above. Level to level, target one's gonna be, if that's the Monday's low, that's gonna be first objective. But that level there, as that's been proving itself here, close enough here. You can see the SR reaction there, retest there. That's going to be the level to level play towards there. Done. Is that clear? Scenario one, before I move on to further scenarios? Okay, that's done. That's the first scenario. Now, at the same time, if it's going to be invalidated, well, that puts us back on towards the long scenarios. And the long scenarios will be, well, what will be the objective? It will be these highs here, right? But before that, always go for a more conservative target. Because last week proved that, didn't it? I really thought it would run this at least. I was convinced that, you know, we're going to run up there and then come back below. But market had his own idea, and this is why I've learned never to always go with the more conservative targets. Okay? However, if it did run back above here, now I'm going to see if this is a stop run or not. And then let it consolidate. Now, if it goes without me, that's fine. Okay? There's always going to be the target. But if it consolidates and holds above, which I was looking for a long trigger there, it didn't give me. Then that's my long trigger invalidation of the swing lows that took it above. And then target 1, target 2. And then that is also the midpoint between that weekly range. Okay, I've been copying the market exactly the midpoint to the tick. Now if it reacts there and starts weakening, you cut it, then you wait and see, okay, if this is resistance, it's going to hold us support if it's going to go far higher up. Where's the next objective? Well, it's going to be that weekly level, okay? And then you wait. I wait for the consolidation, and if it consolidates and holds above, exact same pattern, that's my long trigger, invalidation, whatever the low is that took it above, and I'm going to target towards here, and then that swing high there. Is everybody clear? And that's more or less it, short term, okay? And after that, well, that could be a low in then. I mean, if that's the case, then that could be a low in, and then obviously a clean break and hold above here. Just like it was the breakdown down towards here. If it's not a deviation, if it holds and breaks above, that really puts us on towards here. And possibly even these highs. We'll get to that there and then. I'll post in my free Telegram on my Twitter feed. The link to the Telegram is in the description. It's pinned on my Twitter as well. It's free. Don't fall for these idiots that keep... What they do is they block me. And then I can't see their tweets. And then some people get scammed. And they just look at the handle. Okay, it's not me. Okay? Mine is just the pinned one. But I don't know why people keep falling for it. So that's that there. So this is my line in the sand. Okay. Now I personally believe lower based on what I'm gonna go over in the ES, but that's that. Okay. So carrying on now. This is gonna be the main play. Well, have I got this right? May open is here. Now, if correct, this all could be the monthly open, the wick for the monthly candle. Okay. Now, don't worry if you miss this move. Okay, I often don't catch the top or bottoms. Mine is the middle of the move. Okay, I often catch, which is fine. So what I'll be looking for is I want to see evidence that market's gonna hold below the monthly open. So say for whatever reason you missed this, which is fine. When you're patient and you move slow, and when the market's clear, it often does give it. And another reason why I say that is because if it's going to be a monthly expansion, and if we're correct, this is going to be a fucking dangerous. I mean, ultimately, if we're correct, we're looking for about 29 to 27k area. It doesn't have to reach the extreme. Remember I said, don't go for the extreme end. Go for the more conservative target. And if you're going to go for the more conservative target, it's going to be this level here, actually. So that was what? The first low. One thing I've learned with Bitcoin, especially, in FX is a bit different. With crypto, I've learned these fuckers, right, they leave these lows in, and it's different from exchange to exchange sometimes as well. Okay, so I would go for the more conservative target, which would be that low here, if it's going to fall, and then that low here. And this is going to be the monthly open strategy. Right, let's now go over to the monthly open strategy. Now that everybody's clear with the short-term level-to-level plays, and the monthly open strategies, in this case, unless you're already short, okay, you're going to use it as a compounding opportunity or for fresh plays. Now let's go on to it. We're gonna start off with, this is how I do it, okay? Now I go in, right, and I know that even if I'm correct on the direction, now this is what people say to you. Oh, well, everybody's looking at that direction, yes, but the timing and execution is all it comes down to. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I got screwed over once here, although my target was ultimately take out this low again, but the timing was wrong. So the targets can be obvious. It's gonna go there eventually. Say, look, I called that, but no, calling it and acting upon it are two different things. I've called many trades targets. They're gonna hit them, but did I fuck up the execution? And I did. Okay, I got one right. I got the second one right. The third one tried to go for the short. I fucked it up, and then I got back in again. But on the way there, that one fuck up could have been like, oh, I got overconfident. I risked a lot bigger on here, even though I got 2 wins. And I'm in the loss when I shouldn't be. So this is where the risk management aspect comes in. This is where the timing of the trade comes in, despite knowing it's going to go there for whatever reason. You see my point? Okay, so now let's get on to day trade. Actually, let me go on to the easy point. The easy point is going to be okay. We got, say, the monthly open strategy we got here. Now I want to see market hold below that. Okay. Now short term, we do have this level here. In my opinion, I don't think this holds. I think it's going to be a straight nuke if I'm correct. Why? Because the gradual decline. Slowly decline, and then like that. So, you remember, I'll show you in the chart. So, usually we get this when it's dropping. This, and eventually it's like that. So, that may not even give you the opportunity. So, this is why I'm going to mark out a scenario where entry trigger based on invalidation. I'm not really big into options myself. I do a bit, but I'm not an expert at it. So even though I know what's going on with options, unless I know, if I'm in the position where I'm an expert, then I'll give my opinion. Otherwise, as someone that really is good at it, I'm not the best at options. I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, so what I mean by that is, what if it's my, yes, let me get onto it. Okay, let me get onto it. Relax, stop asking questions. For now, let me explain it. So this sort of pattern here. So for sometimes, you know, when you got this, and you know, it's drifting, and you wait for the perfect return, it goes without you. Now here it comes back, but often it just goes like that. So I don't know so what I'm going to be looking at is the easy play is, we know this level could give you the possibility of a reaction, but based on the weekly expansion we're expecting and the monthly candle, we expect the big bearish candle we had now to be followed by another bearish candle for the reasons I've given, based on the weekly range breaking, based on what I'm going to bring on the ES. So let's go with the easy play. The easy play would be like this, and that would be, it's proving itself, it's holding below the monthly open, invalidation, trigger, target 1, target 2, target 3. So target, and then target there. Okay? That would be the monthly open. Target. That's worst case scenario. If I do not get an opportunity to get on board, for whatever reason, it goes without me, that's what I'll be looking for. Does that make sense? Why do I believe this should hold? Based on what the weekly is saying to me, what the monthly is saying to me, and what the ES is. Now, if this fails, what I'm going to go over, that could be probably a bottom in for a big run up, which I'll get into in a minute. Okay. I don't really know. I don't really look into that kind of stuff. People sometimes they'll try to look too deep and find something that's not there. Who cares? When the movie's done, there's always going to be a reason. Okay. When the movie's done, it's often there's always going to be reasons. Okay, but before that, that's when you want to get on board. Okay, and I'm just telling you what I see in the chart. So that would be that scenario there. Take out these targets there. Okay, now before that, can I get on board is the question. Well, what I tend to do is sometimes I get on board as a day trade, which has the opportunity to get involved as a swing trade. Now here, I'm not going to get on board here now. Okay, unless it swing fails this, I'm getting on board right after a movie is done above this. So what I would do is, okay, as a strategy I would use is, let's simplify this down for a second, okay? You see this area here, where I got on board last week, okay? Where I got on board last week, so this was, hang on, this was the low last week, okay? No, it's changed a bit, hasn't it? So see this here, there's a SR flipping level here, okay? Now this, I would only say is a day trade or a scalp, which has the possibility of evolving into something bigger, okay? Now I'm not going to take a live on stream, but it would be something I would play personally. So see this here, watch this. Pay attention, stop asking questions please, let me finish this. But he could be correct, I could be completely wrong, and it could go to 40k, I don't know. This is support. But see this here, so if I want to, so sometimes a day trade that could evolve into a swing trade. Resistance. Now this is the key pivot for it, launching off last week for that small bounce. Support, as you can see the deviation area, resistance, support. If it breaks down from here, that is technically a short-term short for me. Cutting a clean break above that, target 1. Now, based on what I said of the possibility of expanding lower, why we got a new month candle now started, things are looking pretty bearish across the board. Okay, now if it comes into here, starts bouncing, I'll cut it. What I'll tend to do is, if I've got good conviction, and doesn't happen all the time, but the moment it does happen, I'll put my stops at break even, I'll take some off, and I'll see if it's got, if it's gonna go soon, and if it starts breaking that back below here, that means usually my thesis is probably going to be validated, and then below here, either from there towards there, because that takes below the weekly level, I can add again, okay, I'll add small again. And then when it starts going below here, I'll add again. Ultimately, below here is the ultimate confirmation for us. So what I've done is I've slowly scaled into a position without going in one. I start off with a day trade, with the possibility, keeping in mind that this could evolve into something bigger. Does that make sense? Now this is just my personal stance, because I've been in situations where sometimes I'm just not sure and I'll get the fuck out quick. Okay? But with everything lining up to a possible nuke. Now, when the market nukes, it often doesn't give you a chance, does it? But this way, at least I've got an opportunity. Okay, if it does, then okay, that's fine. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't matter if you just came in. Are you in a position? Watch the recording. So, is that clear? Yeah, I've got a short position on. But not from here. I've got it from earlier on. But yeah, that doesn't matter if I'm in a position or not. I'm talking about what's happening now. But ultimately, the reason why I also say this is remove FOMO. One way is slowly, or the other way is wait for the monthly open strategy. Okay? Okay, Lulu, you can calm down now. Okay, so that's that done. So let's carry on now. That's about it really for the Bitcoin side thing. I'm gonna do ES first and why you want to support this. Okay, but yeah, that's more or less it. I mean, there's not much else to work with, and ultimately, you know, the scenario if it gets back above here towards there. I will be doing updates along my stream. What's the thing? It's Epic Pen. Now I'm gonna go on to ES now, okay? And it's more or less hit my range low. Now I for some reason did fuck this up a bit. I mean, I had to, if you look at my Twitter feed, there was an area here which I said my system actually gave me a short trigger here, down here, okay? But it's come toward the low. So what we've got here is 2022 high, 2022 low, initial low. So that was the high point. This is the year's high, and that was the low of the year so far. Now, this is what's happened. Now, what is the question now? Now, remember what I said as to why I'm building a case now as to why I believe if Bitcoin's gonna nuke, well, this isn't looking pretty for now. Now, so often you can say, well, a market bottoms when it's looking the worst. Yes, I agree. Okay, but if you think about it, if I zoom out a bit, does this look like it's sort of bottoming out? Let's be honest here. That quarterly chart, does that look like it's got bottoming out, or does it look like possibility of a bit more room to go? Be honest with yourselves. Let's just stick to the topic. Does that make sense? For me personally, I think it's got a bit lower to go. I think I'm at least a bit more lower. I mean, I don't see, if it's gonna bottom, I don't see just take out previous quarter low and there's just bounce. I'd want to see more of an expansion. You know what I mean? More of a wick, and then a sell off, and then reclaim. Then it's game on, because then we'll be looking at, okay. At the same time, I bet you either Bitcoin would have taken out where's it gone? Either one of these key levels rejected. Okay, then we can start talking about bounces. Okay, now even if it's going to be a short term bounce, we can still make money off short term bounces. Okay, even in a bear market, there's no excuse for that. Of course, yes, we can be leaning bearish, but the amount of money you can make both sides. Like for example, say I didn't catch much of a. But the one thing that does keep surprising me, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it just makes me laugh, is I can catch a whole downtrend, okay? And often what they do, people they're one positioner. But in fact, if I played both sides of the market, I have to pay more than playing this one position. The only way you really make that big money on the one position is if you're compounding along the way. Does that make sense? If you think about it, the opportunities you missed out on, you know, not even just playing that one position, not taking any profit, holding that one position just so your share P&L card looks like you've caught the top. At the same time, you made fuck all, really. I mean, all this, okay. Did you take any profit there? You sat through all this, okay. You missed out on all this. You missed out on this. You see what I mean? You could have made like 4 times this leg by just playing both sides. Not even being over the top. Just playing, okay, taking profits, jumping back in, and using some of that P&L back and forward. Okay, so we've reached at the extreme end of for ES. Now, this is where, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what you say, ES still controls the show. The equity still controls the show. I mean, proof is, you know, you can look at the charts. So what I'm going to do is, okay, just like we did with Bitcoin, where would be the next target for this? I personally think what I would like to see, I mean, even if this can go up, at least take out around here. 30 around here I would like, or the top of this. And I'll explain my reasoning why, and what I would want to see in the ES to say, okay, you know what, maybe Bitcoin's low is in, and we're going to go higher. But as you can see, from what I'm showing you guys, it's sort of suggesting, I mean, I don't want to be, I mean, my bags are getting affected just as much as yours. So many of my alt bags are underwater. I got stopped out on PYR as well. But, you know, I'm going to get back on board again. It doesn't mean the project shit, it just means everything's falling. You got to accept, no matter how good the project is, when Bitcoin and when we're in the bear market, everything will perish. Okay? That's just the nature of the market. And then once the bottom is in, then the good ones will rally hard. Even scams will rally hard. But you know what I'm going to get at. 42.26.25. 1 second. 42.26.25. You just got to accept it's bear market. No matter how good your shitcoin is. 0.25. I still believe PYR is going to be a 3-digit project. I could be wrong. I don't care. I made a lot of money off of it. But at the same time, even with that conviction, I know that bear markets, everything will suffer. Okay? I'm not from the US, so I don't know. You're going to have to ask somebody. Is anybody from the US where you can help this guy out? What exchange to use in America for shorting? I don't know. You're going to have to. There's no point saying BTC this price or that price. Listen, jokes aside, I say that a lot as well. Nuke, but we don't know. I'll change my view in a second if Marcus says to me. There's many times I've switched my view. Like last week, the reason why I showed a long view was just to show you I do trade both sides of the market. Okay, despite people thinking I'm perma bearish, I will trade both sides. I don't give a fuck. Okay, here that was more or less the low. If you look at last week's stream, that was more or less the low I called. Okay, and I gave the reasons. But I knew in mind that this is still pointing bearish until proven otherwise. I don't know. You'll have to ask some people here, or ask around the what people do. I'm not sure. Sorry. And then the last one I'm gonna do. So what I'm doing now is marking out 2021 range for ES. Now this is where that's gonna help us identify. Okay, where is a possibility if I was going to choose a low, what would I want to see and around what levels? Now, personally, let's do this now. So what I've done is, this is 2021 high, 2021 low, 2021 mid-range. And that's the midpoint of that. And that's the midpoint of that. Okay, pay attention now. Okay, there's 386 of you here. Get it to 200 likes. Like the video, share it as well. So, from a natural SR point of view, would you agree, okay, if I was going to look for a possible bottoming out, would you agree this region would be decent? Because there's a bit of a gap there, there's a bit of a thin movement here, and SR hasn't been retested. Would you agree with that? Yep, I'll do Ethereum after this. But the reason why I'm doing this is because this leg here could be deadly. You gotta remember, Bitcoin is ES 3 times on steroids. Okay? Just listen, stop asking questions outside of this topic, okay? I'm gonna have to start cancelling. Just stick to this, because there's people asking questions, and because you're asking questions outside, it's ruining their questions. Wait, let me get out of this. Okay, so that's gonna be the next step at least. Now, does it bounce from here or does it nuke? I don't know. But this is what I would want to see, wouldn't I? Okay? So what then would I want to see? Okay, I can start potential looking there, but if it does this, now if Bitcoin comes to one of the key level, monthly levels I mentioned, if ES then does this, reclaims, okay, now we're talking. Now that's the deviation done. That would make me feel more comfortable looking for longs on the ES then, because it's done. Okay? It doesn't matter what exchange you just look around, you can find. There's few. You can use Delta Exchange, you can use Prime XBT, you can use Binance. I don't think you can do futures on it anymore. Bybit. Can you use Bybit? I don't know. Bybit. Prime XBT, for God's sakes. The best exchange in the world, obviously. The guys that are sponsoring this stream. Everybody, Prime XBT now. Fuck everything else. Why am I even mentioning all the exchanges? Prime XBT. They're good, they're decent. Use them. Try to check them out. So anyways, we got this. And then for a range play, possibly towards there. But even if that's short-lived, that bounce on this, just like BTC on steroids on the way down, if ES drops, it's on steroids on the way up as well. Look for any excuse. So if there's a bit of risk on happening, imagine what happened to BTC, that's when we can start looking for the long scenarios. Does that make sense? Don't like it then. Okay, so if you don't like it, you can go. Okay, is that started? I found calm in the chaos and now trade more patience. Excellent, well done. Bits. Pronounced it right. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking at. Now that also lines up with a range level. Okay, there. That would also be a reclaim of the initial low for 2022. Okay, so yeah, a reclaim. I accept that's the midpoint towards there. But if it was to reclaim, but that's what minimum I want to see. So what would that look like for the monthly and weekly? So what would that look like for the monthly and weekly? Monthly and quarterly, sorry. It would give us that wick, wouldn't it? So imagine what that's shaping up to be. Now imagine this. What I want you to imagine, so this is where you gotta think ahead. I want you to imagine something like, I don't know, I mean, last month wasn't, but a washout, okay? I personally think we come here, but even if we do come here, we'll be looking at the same thing, okay? If it comes a washout, that would be the last year's low token. Now, if it holds below there, everything's fucked in the world then most likely. But once it does that and holds, then that's back up towards here, and then towards there, okay? Is audio back? Okay, not sure what happened to the audio there, but it looks like somebody paused it. Okay, that's it. So keep this in mind, and this is why I'm leaning lower until proven otherwise. Now this could end up being a big wick. Okay, it's falling while we're on stream. Can mark it? Wait till I'm off stream. God's sakes. But yeah, that's what we'll be looking for. Okay, that's that there. Now, what we're also going to be looking at, we're looking at the VIX now. Okay, now this has been a key point for the VIX. If VIX is bid, okay, usually the ES is going to drop, okay? So this is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be watching this area here, okay? We'll be watching this area here. Now, if ES comes to one of my key levels, okay? If ES comes to one of my key levels, then what I'll be watching is for a rally, this into this, and then once ES starts turning, I'll start seeing this breaking down. Then I'll say, okay, it doesn't have to go all the way down, but maybe just put back into the range here. Now that will give me enough for a possible bounce in Bitcoin to play. Now whether that's the low or not, I don't know. Often the low evolves. Sometimes I'm not looking for a low, but then market evolves into, okay, maybe support structuring, maybe FA changes, dynamics change, then okay. But I don't need to worry about that. I can still get that on board. But that's what we're looking for. Now, if this goes back above here and holds, then get ready. It's gonna be full on Armageddon. Because if it holds above here this time round, we're probably gonna go towards there. God knows what's gonna happen then. Just play the short side. I mean, I would love it. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'll short the fuck out of the market if I have to. But yeah, that's my point. Is that clear? Okay, so does that make sense? No, I just look at the chart I'm looking at. It doesn't make a difference to me, log this, that, the other. Just looking at it the way I'm doing it. So does that make sense? Macro low high? It could be. I don't know. It could be. This is the thing. I don't know. See, people that make up those assumptions with that price, like, I have no fucking idea. I mean, I've been doing. I mean, maybe I'm not that good. I'm not saying I'm the best trader out there, but I know enough over 10 years, over 10 years doing this, that I've given up guessing that kind of stuff. Okay, it doesn't make a sense for me personally. I mean, it could do this. It could also do this. It could also do this. I don't know. All I know is I'll draw my levels. If it clears this level, that's my next target. If it clears that level, that's my next target. At what point do I say, okay, I'm going to be confident on saying there's a macro low in? Really and truly, it's going to be above here, really. Now, that may mean I miss out on all this, but no, really, I'm not missing out on all that. Because I'm playing level to level within here. Okay? I'm playing level to level. Just because I don't have conviction in holding a position doesn't mean I'm not trading. Well, once I can clearly reclaim back above that, then my next area is going to be towards here. And then my next area is going to be towards there. That way, I don't need to have a swing position on. I'm still trading it, but my level to level plays. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's my style. If I look at it from a zoomed out point of view, right, before I do Ethereum, we're gonna do Ethereum, and then I'm gonna pull a Bitcoin on, and then once it's gone, I'll try to do one or two more, because I want to look at the dollar index as well. Because dollar index is that territory where I don't fucking know, man. It's dangerous. I mean, it's thin air, really. It's that make or break point as well. Could this have just been a big bear flag? I mean, we can't really argue that, can we? Could we? Can someone 100% say to me, we cannot get something like this? Nobody can say to me, we can't do something like this. No, you can't say that either. Anything can happen this way. This is bullshit to say until it happens. But unless you got some next level conviction. But that could happen, okay? But just be wary. That's why the level to level approach that I'm playing. I mean, think about it. If they're going to run these lows, do you think it's just going to be stuck on a dime here? Not really, is it? It just makes sense to really squeeze it. If it's going to squeeze it, I think it's going to be at least 5 to 6k squeeze. At least. So whatever happens here, this is why I said the deviation part. Whether it's towards here, whether it's towards, I don't care. But once that deviation happens, then I'm back on board. And that is the same thing. This, forget the ticker time frame. It's the same thing as this, isn't it? When this happened last week, I said I don't know here. There's certain tools I may have or certain strategies that may cater for picking a low here, and we did pick a low here. Remember that low I said here? We did. But once it gets back above, that's the higher conviction player. Yes, I've got on board higher, but I've got a decent enough target to work with, and that I put more money behind than trying to guess a low. I get stopped out 5 times before the 1 minute start chasing clout around. Maybe there's a moving average there. Yes, absolutely. Okay? But just stick to your normal. Imagine this was a crash. Imagine this is the daily, weekly chart. This approach that I used here will be the exact same thing I approach using the daily, weekly, monthly, etc. Okay? Let me do. You know what? I'll do Ethereum. Then I'm gonna bring Bull Bitcoin because I don't want to keep holding him. And then I'm gonna do the dollar index. I'm actually gonna do the dollar index first, and then bring him on. Because since we got it all together, again, similar thing with Ethereum. Okay, now that you know Bitcoin, you know what Ethereum is gonna do. Use the monthly upper strategy. I did lose the levels, but even Ethereum last week, if you look at it, it gave us that little bounce play, but it hit into our first target area, and then what's it called? We had to cut it based on Bull C. Yes, that's him. Yep. So he's gonna share his moving average. Main reason I want to bring him on, he's got a moving average strategy. There's a few of you requested, so I think he did quite well with that. And then he's gonna discuss whatever project he's working on. But yes, Just take the alpha, leave what you don't like, take what you like, and that's it. Okay, so that's the monthly open. So it's not looking too great, is it? So the next target really more or less is going to be here. So let's mark our targets. And then there. And then there. Okay, just marking them out, you're aware. These are levels you can't really see on the lower time frame. Okay, and the weekly, well, it was the same thing, wasn't it? We couldn't really get back above. So here, if we look at it, we've raided those stops here. This was the level we couldn't really penetrate. Okay, and I'm going to draw it out as a box really. This was where I said, okay, you know what? We need to hold above here. We're right there right now. Okay, the way things are looking, we've taken it from a range perspective. Is it going to be a higher low? I don't know. But if Bitcoin still system bed, that's going to be the next objective for price. Okay, now let's go to the lower time frame, and this is where the more detailed stuff comes in. It's here. So this is where the breakout play came in. So I'm going to get rid of this for a second. Okay, and this is where, okay, that's the monthly open. Now where does the monthly open lie? It lies perfectly with this KSR level here. This is what's gonna, that's the base of the move, isn't it? Okay, so see the accumulation or accumulation area, that's the nose of it. Retest, and that move takes off, right? So if you look at it right now, monthly open, if it breaks back below here, now what we could do is use the same strategy for Ethereum, like with Bitcoin, where it's gone below the KSR level, support, deviation. Well, if the deviation should be coming back below here, right? Stops will be taken, but if it comes back below here again, it's game over. And then we should probably be retesting the top of this consolidation. Target 1, target 2, and ultimately the monthly. Now, well, what happens here, we'll see. Is it going to be a swing failure? Is it going to be this, that, the other? Who knows? Who gives a fuck? Or we're just going to play the levels as they are. And so, I don't know. We can use this or we can use that. It doesn't really matter. I would go with this one here. And the reason why I'm going with this one is because initially it was like this, wasn't it? But that could be a deviation. If I take it to the right, we are respecting it there. We've also respected it there. So these are deviations now. Okay. Now this is further confluence to me that, you know what, we're starting to break down. Now the daily hasn't closed yet. Things could change. But if it does give us the more monthly open strategy that we've been looking at for Bitcoin, where we've done the stop run. Okay, that was enough of a bounce. Into there. Short it probably towards here. Next. And that will line up with Bitcoin as well. Is that clear? That's more or less it for the Ethereum. Now, at the plus side, if this is the low, then we'll be looking at the same exact thing that we looked at for Bitcoin. I mean, you can make it simple as you like at times, really. But what we got here is where the stop's resting, identify where the liquidity is going to be. Nice clean highs here. Okay. As the day unfolds, okay, they say Bitcoin reclaims the key level I mentioned, and Ethereum does that. Well, what if this is a higher low? Okay, whatever it does here, whether it's a swing failure or not, it doesn't matter to me. Clean reclaim and hold above. Yeah, that's my long target one there. Now I'm going to see if it's a deviation or not to get back below it or not for a short back down, or if it comes into here, starts holding, resistance should turn to support as a further long, probably to go towards here and then there. Does that make sense to everybody? Did you find the fees fairly high? I mean, they're alright. I mean, I don't know. Prime XPT is decent. It depends if you like it or not. I mean, obviously there's certain rates if you're a higher volume trader, exchanges do different rates and stuff. But yeah. And finally, let me do Dixie, and then I'll come back after he's done. And it's gonna be a quick one. See, this is what's worrying me for now. Dollar index. Dollar index is, if you look at the quarterly basis, it looks quite shit, isn't it? So if you look at the 12 month, okay, look at the yearly. It's looking quite bullish. I mean, it's just it's just what, 3 or 5 months in now. Okay, the 5th month is starting. I don't know if I want to fade this. What if this is one big bull flag formation for another leg higher? Could be. You can't argue it. And if you look, zoom back from your one minute chart, you might start seeing what's really happening. So that would mean it's kind of thin air, really, towards here, really. And this is scary, isn't it? What if that is the case? What if this is the case here? What if this is a fucking breakout here? That's a pretty scary sight, isn't it? Because this is thin air territory now. I mean, if you think about it, if a breakout, it goes and goes and goes and goes, doesn't it? But what if that is, and then maybe, I don't know, does it do this, or does it even do that? Nobody can rule that out, can they? But all I know is, if we stay above this, that's the next objective. And because we've been ranging for so long, that is not going to be, this is most likely going to happen today. Now, I don't know, maybe we've got NFP, we've got Fed this week. Maybe things change then. So maybe you want to be on the back seat, looking at to see what they do. But from a range perspective also, okay, let's mark our possible resistance areas. This is a resistance now. So what would say to me, okay, maybe the top is in, at least for a pullback. Whether or not it's a full-on retracement, but at least a short-term one. Well, this was an objective for price. Okay, so I'm going to work backwards now. So if market does this, okay, so I don't know, it does that, then that's a short-term short for me towards there. Now, this could be like this, or could go lower, I don't know, but this is where the level to level helps me, but I don't need to predict or be correct. But that will be from there. Then I'll see what happens after that. If it then goes back below here, then most likely it'll probably come toward the bottom of the range. Target 1, target 2. That's if that does here. However, if it does hold above, then start praying, because everything's in your fault. Maybe Bitcoin comes down with it as well. If it does that, then towards here. So right here, right now, it's hard to see. I can't really make up a trade here because it's just been one line. I've got no pullbacks. I've had nothing to work with here right now. I'm going to need some sort of pullback to work with. Can you see that? I mean, it's tough. This is where, yes, market's moving, there's volatility, but how can I buy it straight here? I'm buying resistance after such a big pullback. And that's the bad thing about, when the market is going to top out. This is where people get fucked. Okay? Because you've been here before, just like here. If you think about it, it's dropping. And then boom, just when you're about to buy it, boom, and then it resumes. So there will be pullbacks. Just be patient, whether it's now or whether it's a bit time down the line. Just wait for that pullback. And when it happens, then things will be clear. So what I would want to do is I would remain bullish until proven. There's nothing here to suggest to me the dollar's bearish. Until proven otherwise, just because that resistance level, that is at the same time, quarterly is just breaking out. So the ideal scenario for me, and this may take time to unfold, and be interesting to see where we're at next week. If by next week we're at an interesting position, I'll then may be able to mark out some plans. But ideally, something like this, and if it holds, that would be very bullish, and then that I'll be going towards there. Okay, so I just want to give a brief outline, and once we've got more price to work with for the new month, I'll be able to work on more details. Okay, I'm gonna bring on Bull. And I'm gonna bring him on, and then once he's done, I'll take some alt requests. I mean, at the end of the day, if they look kind of shit, don't they? But who knows? We may have some hope. Okay, let's see if we can jump in. So far, has it made sense as to what I'm looking at? Has everything made sense to you guys? I think it's pretty straightforward. Don't tell me Mark is nuking now. I mean, I don't need a nuke right now. I need to start positioning. Fucking like ES is dropping. But you know what? Keep these levels. For ES, keep these levels I've drawn. Okay? Yes, remind me at the end of the stream. I'll give him about 5-10 minutes at the end once he's done. I'm not sure what's holding him up. Let's see. One second. Bear with me. Bear with me. Sorry. Sorry about that. Give me a second. My computer's fucking so slow. There we go. This should work now. Excuse me about that. It was my fault. I gave him the wrong password. So as long as that made sense. Okay, I think we've got it. Right, make presenter. There we've got it. Finally. Make presenter. Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
Hello, mate. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, excellent. Pull up Bitcoin.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. So I've made you presenter. Can everybody confirm?
Yep.
Can they hear Bullet Bitcoin? I won't put you on screen yet. So if you want to share screen, just to make sure everything's clear, in case there's something you don't want to. Your porn websites, people you don't want seeing.
Not yet. 2 seconds.
So Bull's been a good mate of mine. We've known him for years. One thing, he's got this moving average strategy, which I think a lot have learned. So he's just going to share his experiences and his. I think he's big in the property market as well. I know that. That's one guy who got for advice. You still do that, mate? The properties? Or have you dropped that? You're big into that, weren't you? The construction business?
Yeah, no, I did start. Just finished. I can actually hear your playback. I'm just going to try and
pause YouTube. Pause YouTube so you just hear this.
Oh, yeah.
Mute YouTube. Actually, mute it so you can see the chat. But yeah, I think. So you've got the screen now. Can you share it? And everybody can hear you, by the way. There we are. Yeah, perfect. So he's Bullet Bitcoin. Doesn't need much of an intro. You guys know him, and like my usual do, I mean, maybe that's me just being lazy, but I'm gonna let him explain what his alpha and what he's up to in crypto. So I love you guys. You just do trading part, but I think Bull's actually working on stuff as well. So whether you find alpha in there or not, always good to listen to other perspectives. I'm gonna hand it over to you, mate, and I'm gonna be with you all along.
Lovely. Okay, mate. So I want to start with the down cross and up cross, which is the 725 and the 99 MAs that I use. I get asked quite a lot why I use them three, and it's primarily because they're the three that was on Binance when they first opened. So is it a case that I found a way to work with them? Probably, but if there's Binance MMs there using them, there's lots of algos using them, so it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, so to speak. So if everyone expects us to bounce off the 99, for example, then that's where you're bidding. So this is where I think I tweeted it. What's the date there? I think I tweeted it about 5 weeks ago. That the 4.8, I think I said it was 483 area, and I think it was 4820. was the short entry. So what I'd expect to see is the rejection there and the sell-off, which we got, and then we got heavy selling the next week. I mean, ridiculously heavy selling. Then we had some respite there, but it was just a bull trap, just literally tagged. If you go to the daily, the 4 hour and 1 hour, you can see this play out slowly. But obviously, I wanted to do the weekly, daily 4 and 1 hour to give you an idea on the strategy. So I don't see any possibility that we do not tag this 99 MA, which is currently sitting at 36,366. Whether we range, you know, we might bounce in between, we might even come up, like you said, we just don't know at the minute. And anyone who says they do is talking shit. We could expect it to come up. We might get a tag of the 7, which again is 41. I don't personally think we see that. Touching here and bouncing is actually bullish. It's the first real retest of the 99. We got front run here. We got front run there, and I don't think we get front run here. I actually think we could sweep. I think stops will be sitting at 36 bang on. So I would expect maybe a sweep of 35.2 to wipe out any 2%ers, because humans are all the same. You know, if there's a 35,000 or a 36,000, they'll set their stops at 35,988 or something fucking stupid like that. And the exchanges know this, and they'll just come sweep it, and then we go up. So that's what I'm expecting here. So if we go back down to, let's go back to, so we're going to go back to September 2020. Now, obviously, everything I'm going to show you is in hindsight, but I've been trading this strategy for almost 5 years live, and I've done over 100,000 candle closes, data collection and testing, beta testing, that sort of stuff. So we know the backtest data works. I know that the live data works. Whether you fuck that up in between, that's on you. That's only something that can come with experience. You can't get taught that. You know yourself. If we told people to short here, which I'll explain in a minute, and we give that entry to 1,000 people, we will have 1,000 different results. Yeah. Some would have sold here. Some would have sold here because they see a fucking wick on 1 minute chart looked bullish and flipped. Some apes wouldn't have even closed and probably rolled it all the way back up there. So there's 1,000 ways to play these things. But the point in trading is to give yourself the best chances. It's a numbers game. So here we're just going to go through this strategy. So obviously the weekly we showed the down cross and then the retest. Here we have the first down cross. We get the retest pretty early. I usually like to see a bit of spread there, but we got this one pretty early. So we enter a short here. This is obviously all in hindsight, but just to show you, I mean, if we had to wait for MAs to work, we'd be here all week. So you've got a potential there of 7%. Will you get 7%? Of course you won't. Would you have shorted the top with absolutely minimal downsides? Yes, you would. Less than 0.5% offside. How you play this and how much you get out of it is just experience. That's all it is. You can't even teach it, I don't think. You can teach. You can give someone entry and exit levels, but what they do in between is a different ball game.
Absolutely.
Some people don't see it. Go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say absolutely. There's a strategy I gave out earlier, but it depends on how you exit as well. Entry is only part of it, but and another one was, you said you think it's going to hit that level, and everybody's looking, it's obvious, but the execution part is what it comes down to, isn't it? Execution and exit.
Yeah.
Just to make money. People think the trading, you have to be good, you have to nail the top and call it, but it's just as long as it can make money, rinse, repeat, even a portion of it. That's all you need, really. And you sort of confirmed that about what you said.
Well, you covered it earlier. The most money you make is in between them mini ranges that occur. I remember in 2019, VET was bouncing 160 to 166, and I was actually at work, and I think I did about 60 trades that day of just that range, that 6 sat range all day. I think I've had Tron. We had over 100 trades, just constantly nicking, 3 or 4 levels at each time. So there's loads of things that you can play in there. And if you do catch the bottom and the top, there's no way that you're going to get the most out of it. But this is why I like this strategy, because it almost gives you an extra life and it keeps you interested. So I'll explain what I mean by that. So as everyone knows, I like the 99 MA as well. So if we cancel out the noise on here, just for a second. Oh shit.
Is this at any time frame you're using, by the way?
Yeah, so this is actually the 4 hour. The only thing that changes is the spread. So if you're scalping, this can go down to the 15-minute, and I think that's the minimum. The MAs tend to pinch a bit too much by then. I think 1 hour is perfect. 4 hour for swing trades. Daily and weekly are for sort of macro versions. If you are trying to build a position, or you're dollar cost averaging into a position, build in a short or build in a long, then I suggest you go with the same strategy, but with the daily and the weekly, because a wick on the weekly might not look a lot. So for an example, if we said that you wanted to, long this 99 MA, and you will not stop out until, you're not going to close it for 2 months. You're going to have to watch it go 4% offside maximum. And then you're going to run, what level are we on here? $10,534. Now, if you would have said that from that you would have obviously made a lot of money and you would have held it. But if you then do that on the weekly, you're talking about 20-30% drawdowns. Now, that's not a trade. That's just fucking stupidity. That's a buy and a hope. And buying and hoping in trading is not the one. If you're going to do that, you might as well set levels on dailies and just buy a dollar cost average at certain levels, like you say, monthly opens, mid ranges, that sort of stuff, rather than actually trade. So what you can find is once they do spread, they can, like this here, this entire range here is something I will not get involved with. That is a mess. Now, that's where most of everyone fucks up there. They'll try and, even there, to be fair, it did up cross. It did actually still work there, but it's still something I wouldn't do. 3%. Do we want to be fucking around for 3% in what? 2.5 week range, trying to scalp 3%? There's better trades out there.
When I talk about breakout trades, this is something I sometimes do use. Your moving average, the yellow one, sort of gives an entry which lines up with my breakout strategy. So for those asking, do I use other stuff? Sometimes I do deviate with, for example, a moving average, because it doesn't give us, when it breaks out eventually of the box you had drawn, it doesn't give us the perfect retest, but the moving average is there for a different strategy, and you bring it together. So that's, yeah.
So this is what you usually find when they pinch. You get this compression, and it's almost impossible. You can, like, looking at this previously, that looks like a bull trap, that looks like a bear trap, but this is 3% range. In reality, it's nothing. It's just noise. This is what you need to avoid here. Let them move, and then what happens? We let these breathe. We let these MAs spread out, and then we get that retest. Look at that. You can do this yourself. It's not rocket science. It's not difficult. Emotions is difficult. And how to play this and how to sit on your hands is difficult. The entry system isn't difficult, and that's why I built Bull bots and the Algo bots, because it's too much time to see all of this happening in real time. We're talking about 4 days there before you get that entry, and if you're not watching that live, you can set alerts and stuff, but you can't set alerts on 25 tickers. But there's a great case there of a perfect retest. So that's what we call the retest there. And 5%. It's still not great, but you're talking about a 4 hour time frame. So you've got loads of exit strategies. You could be using, higher time frame resistances, even higher time frame MAs. But I find if you start playing around too much, when I check this chart on this 4 hour chart, and I've checked this, and I want to long this first retest, I long there. What I do here, I will probably go down to the 15-minute and try and see what I want to do, but I won't let this daily or the weekly or anything else affect this trade, because this is what I want to play. If I don't play this and it plays out, which they mostly do, or at least the majority of the time they do, then there's no point trading, because if you look hard enough, you'll find bias to not enter ever. You know, you could say to me, "Oh, this is a great support level." I could go on any time frame maybe and find that it's not. Do you know what I mean? So it's a difficult one to do when you try and overcomplicate stuff. And then, so we get the long entry here, and then we get that range again before the breakout. And what do we see? The up cross again. Now, this is what I say. My bots are set to 0.5% above and below. So in case we get front run, we at least catch 50% of the move. Now, if we work on the strategy that the first close below, above or below the 25 MA is our exit strategy, this is why it works. This is why I wanted to show you, obviously, in a trending market. This is why it works so well. So we've got entry level down here. Now, this entry level, this isn't hindsight. This is, if my bots were live then, this would have entered. Now, when we close is another ball game. So if we go first close below, that's marginal. So we're looking at there. So looking at a 14% rise on that trade. Now, what you do in between there and there is, again, we come back to the 1,000 traders, 1,000 different results. But this is why I like to keep to this. If you have an exit strategy and it's been tested and, you know, tested on 100,000 different past candles, then that past data knows more than you. And that's why I try and keep the emotion out of it and let the bots do most of the trading. Obviously, the weekly and the dailies I'll play on Binance, but that's mainly on the phone. So yeah, that's pretty much the strategy. Now we can see this play out again and again. You've got the down cross there. Let's lose the 99 for some cancel out some of the noise. So we've got the down cross there. There's that spread. Opens right up, and then that's when you want to be long there. Now, what do we have offside? We have entry, less than 0.5% offside. And then I have a usual 6-hour time lock. So what that means is once I enter here, I'll want to see 6 closes before I re-enter, which puts us here. So we've got short, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's probably called half of that. So we've now got 3 positions, all short, and we're compounding here. And we're never really in danger. I mean, we're never really offside. You've got potential of 3.5 there, but we're never, again, it comes back to it, how you play it. But look at this, it just trends down and down and down, and you get multiple entries. Another one, 6 hours. You probably avoid that because it's above, another cross, another retest, another retest. And then you're here, and then you get the spread, and there's another touch. I mean, that's when you're getting into, when the ranges are that small on the 1 hour, that's when you're getting into scalping range, which I wouldn't recommend anyone for if they're new to trading. I would play the big wide spreads. And yeah, here, this is an example where it doesn't work. There's the spread, there's the first touch. So our entry is here, we're short again. Goes to 1.2, probably wouldn't take profit there. So we'd leave our stops at 2% and we stop out at 2% there. That's not a problem. This strategy is not 100% strike rate, because if it was, I wouldn't be on with you. We'd be in fucking Barbados or something on our own island, because nothing's got 100% success rate. But that's the point. It's a numbers game. So if your entry level is good, and you experience how to get the most out of it, like there, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 short positions, or 6 additions to your short position. And then all of a sudden that 3.8% isn't just 3.8%. It opens up 7.3% target with 4 to 5 entries. And that's a big position you could build there.
Excellent.
Let's go to, and there's other ones I wanted to show it's quite hard to
Do you
show
teach
because
this
obviously the
stuff?
price.
There's a question somebody asked. It hasn't appeared here. But do you teach this stuff?
Um,
Or?
yeah, so I've got on my Ball of Bitcoin YouTube channel, there's a few streams and stuff like that on there where I go through it. And there's actually, there's a 2-year-old strategy that goes to show you how well it does. That video is 2.5 years old, I believe, and still going. It still rings true. So again, close to 99. There's the down cross. And do we get that? Yep, 0.9%. So we're short there. We're probably short there because it's within 0.5 and it's within 6 hours. We're short again there. We're short again
the
there.
most recent one.
And
That's
then
what I'm looking at.
yeah, and you just follow it down, and then what happens is you'll go short again here, get stopped out. But what you're giving back, you've got 5 or 6 entries that are constantly gaining.
Yeah, I mean that's another 100%.
And like I say, there's no like this one here, for example. We get the up cross. There's a great spread. To me, I would long. I probably did. I would long there because I would expect that with that spread opening up, and then I would expect us to bounce off and continue up, and probably coming back to test this one that flipped, retested, and come back through. We didn't get that, so that's 2% loss, and that's fine. You need to learn how to lose because you will, and if it eats you up, that's one of the things I had to learn early. I hate being wrong, so what I would do, I would trade with $10 over and over and over again all day, 16 hours a day on Binance app, just learning how to lose. And all you do then is you scale up, obviously through the months or through the years. You do 100,000, 10,000, or whatever your limit is, and you do it comfortably. When I see people that enter positions and they're shitting themselves, and that just tells you that they've got no stop loss there. They don't expect to come out anytime soon, and they're just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on, there's one more that you've probably seen on Twitter that I use, is the 170 EMA. Now, this on Bitcoin specifically works brilliant, but I just wanted to show on the 1 hour, I found Bitcoin Cash. This was one of the more recent ones. And I went through every MA on the 1 hour that I possibly could, and until I found the one that had the highest strike rate and would ring true through the most touches and all that sort of stuff. And it come to the 170, and the 170 hours is actually 7.0. I think it's 7.0 days. So it ties in with a weekly. Now, I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it, whether it's a coincidence, but some of the Bitcoin calls that, I've made a couple of days in advance sometimes with this 170 is just that. I ignore all of the noise, and sometimes I just punt the 170 touch. Again, what you want to see is this, a nice spread. Let price do its thing, come up, retest, short the life out of it.
Sometimes
you can short it again if you want.
Simple. But a lot of times, I've used it's
I know.
Like 200, I bung on the 200 EMA. If it lines up with my SR level, that's just Confluence. It just gives you that confidence.
Yeah.
That visual confidence.
Yeah. I think it's as well the years of trading on Binance app, being able to open that screen up, see the 3 or 4 that you could only use 3 MAs not too long ago, but opening that screen up, seeing your 4 MAs, and just instantly recognizing, like here, this is noise. I don't care what happens between there and there. All I know is when that touches that, I'm shorting it. And everyone can go on Twitter now and they can find it. I probably chased a bit of clout not too long ago on it. But yeah, that was the short target. I think I said it a couple of days before. Short there. We're going to hit there. Now, I don't care. And it's not it's not bearish at all. In fact, ironically, it's bullish. But some people get so hell bent on, 37. If we lose 37, it's going to go to 28. Listen, You long here, you take profit here. If we close above, then you let that play out. If we break across here, then we long go to all-time high. That's fine. If we come here, you long and you get stopped out, guess what? Wait for it to come down, short the retest, and you're going to come down to the 170.
Oof.
Which at the minute, yeah, it's 25. But people don't like to hear that, and I don't understand why. Because your altcoins are going to suffer. Obviously, mine are going to suffer. But you can hedge. There's so many options. You don't have to just sit there and fucking watch your portfolio just dwindle down to fuck all. You can do something, even if you took a two time leverage hedge. Especially if we get to here, if you're holding altcoins and we bounce off this 99 and we go and retest the 25, you open up a 2x short at 44 and you do not close it. You let that run, and if we do go to all times higher, you get stopped out on whatever position you've gone, because it's probably 50, what's that, 20, 40. You probably won't get liquidated, but your altcoin will obviously be dragged up as well. So there's so many plays to it. But I didn't really want to get too far involved with that sort of stuff because I just wanted to show this
happy days.
simple strat.
It's a lot of alpha you've shared there. I mean, like I said, you take what makes sense to you, you leave what doesn't. No two people can trade the same. Even with my streams and stuff I share, just take what makes sense, just leave alone what doesn't, and that's that.
Exactly. And here's an example of what we just showed on Binance. There's the up cross. And this is what I want to show when you're dealing with the daily. Something that looks quite close. Also, we would have probably got an entry there at 0.5. So as you can see, there's the up cross. There's the front run. And there's the run, 19%. Again, you would have probably checked the 1 hour chart, shit your pants on one of these wicks and closed it. But it doesn't matter. That's a great entry. You're never offside, and what you do in between is entirely up to you. You would have longed this one, got closed out, lost 2%. There's the down cross. You would have crossed that one, absolutely spot bollock, and then it opened up at 12%. So you've got a great entry there at half size. So 19, that's 9.5 potential on full account, and then you've got 0. That's because we don't go above, so 0.5 again, so you've got another 6.5% there. So you're looking at a 15%, 16% possibility there against a 2% stop out, and that's why the numbers work. That's why you keep pulling the trigger, even if you have 3 losses in a row on 3 different coins. It doesn't matter. This works over time. It works. I've got the data to prove it. I've live traded this for 5 years. I know it works. Some people probably better at it than me. I do the same as you. Overcomplicate. I'll jump on the 1 hour. Like here, if you held this short down to here, and then we got that huge bounce on the 25th, you might have closed it there, which is completely understandable. And you would have still made 5%, but you would have give a lot back. And I think the position now is the short from the 43. And I think we definitely go hunting for the, where are we? 30, yeah. I think we sweep these. 35. I think we do something like this, which will scare a lot of people. But like we said, when we flick to the weekly, it's bullish. Only if we bounce, obviously. It's not bullish if it fucking nukes to 25k. But if my money, and I'm going to be betting we long there. I think 35.6 for the bounce. I don't think we see. I think it would be too easy to just bounce 36 bang on. I think we sweep the stops. The 2% stops.
Happy days. So that's the strategy part over with. Would you like to share what sort of stuff you're working on? Because I know you're working on other stuff.
Yes, mate. If that's okay.
Yeah, happy days.
I won't keep it. I won't keep you too long. So yeah, so I started Bull Global about 2 years ago. The first thing we started building out was the Bull bots. So this is the algorithm trading platform with the 3 different bots. Now, one of the bots is based on the 170 EMA, which I showed you earlier. Silver is this strategy based on the 4-hour. There's obviously a lot more involved than what I've just shown, but to obviously try and keep it simple and explain the strategy, I've kept it to this. There's things like, dynamic sizing. There's also correlation. So if an altcoin is printing the same data points as Bitcoin, we won't enter, because you're going to enter the same trade 3 or 4 times, and you're just going to waste users' fees and probably create some slip as well. So there's loads, obviously, more involved with that. And then we've got the upcoming NFT launch, which hopefully I'll just cover just before we go. Here's one of we picked three random coins. So I'll bring this up. So this is based on this strategy, 2021. And this is hands off. This includes slip, fees, everything you do. Now, this is no hands-on. So what people tend to do is they'll do a back test, they'll get the result, and then they'll think, let's look through it and see if we can improve it. Now, that's not something that we would do. We run the algo, we run the bot, we run the back test. And this is what that year would have been with the comp EOS and cake. We chose 10 different triple entries, different tickers, sorry. And I think the minimum one was around 178%. We found that 3 was the best. We tried it with 5, we tried it with 10, and all it does is spreads your capital too thinly. And that's where the correlation part come in. So that's that part. So we've got obviously our own AMM, and we've got our own coin called Bullcoin, which is bulk. It originally was on ERC20, but we migrated to BSC because the gas fees, especially with what we're building with in terms of the betting side of it, would have been astronomical, and just you wouldn't have been able to do what we wanted to do. So I'm just going to try and swap over to the Bullcoin site. Can you still see that?
Yeah, I can.
All right, perfect. So here we have this. So we've got a limited amount of Bullcoin in here, which is pre-sale. Now, I've funded this personally, just myself. So there's no VCs, there's no high influencer. Jesus Christ, influencers involved. This is just self-funded over the 2-year period, and we're all coming together now. It's really coming on. We've just actually opened up the staking pools, which I tweeted about earlier. There's already about 25% of current supply that's out there locked up, with more to follow. So we've got, I think it's around 2 million coins left at 40 cents. Once the NFT launches, we're going to put 1 million LP into this for full launch, and it's going to launch at $1. So it's a no-brainer in terms of that. So let's go through. Don't want to waste too much of your time. So we've got stuff like the Bull Store. This is where you'll find just merchandise. This has only recently been sort of added, but we're going to start adding some more stuff on there. And eventually everything will be bulk purchase. It's BUSD now because I found a lot of people are waiting on the sidelines. So everything I've built so far, including the betting side of it, is very much orientated towards BUSD. We will go full bulk before the end of the year, hopefully. So this is what we're dropping next week as well. So we're going to have prediction, which is based on Pancake Swap, but you'll be able to obviously use bulk, BNB, Blizzard, and BUSD. And then we'll obviously run in the Bull Bets lottery as well. And then the signature game, which I hope everyone comes and has a go at, is Bull Run. This is based on, I don't know if anyone's played Bust a Bit. So, so if anyone's not familiar with Bust a Bit or Crash on Roulette, it's a very similar algorithm game to that. And you basically bet, and you got to cash out by the multiplier before we crash. So the last 6 games here, this is obviously 24/7, 2.9, 2.6, and then you've got 156 times your money. So that there's some big winners in there. Very addictive game, and that's BUSD, but eventually we're going to be going towards bulk. All the roads lead back to bulk. And just to jump back onto Bullbots. So this is the Bullbot site. This is where you can sign up, testimony, prices, all that sort of stuff. And the subscriptions are only in bulk. So that's there.
Happy days, been a busy guy.
Again, yeah, I know. We're just we've tried to build an ecosystem so everything feeds towards bulk. Now, if you imagine cake on PancakeSwap, but imagine if cake was fixed at 20 million supply and also had all of this additional stuff like the bull run and the P2P betting platform. So with this NFT launch, what we wanted to do is do something completely different. So we're going to have our own marketplace, which is BUSD. Again, my decision on this was people buying these, board BAYC and all that sort of stuff. They have to sit in Ethereum. Now, it's all well and good flipping NFTs for profit and stuff like that. But if you do a 50% flip, a 20% flip, and Ethereum loses 25%, it sort of doesn't really make any sense. So that's why I decided to build out my own BUSD marketplace. Percentage of fees will go back to buying bulk at market, creating LP for the AMM, all the fees involved, everything will funnel back to bulk and burning it. The hopeful target is to get it down to about 15 million supply by Christmas. And if I can tag the $10 mark by then, I'll be very, very happy.
Do you know what I like is this? It just proves there's more to crypto than one thing. You get a lot of scams out there, you get a lot of legit out there, and they always get mixed up together. But outside the trading, you're building something. So it just shows like trading doesn't have to be a thing. But if you work on something that's of value, people sign up. Edgar, listen, man. You can fuck off.
It's a gateway. So sorry if I could just finish on the NFT, if that's okay, mate, and then I'll let you jump on. So here's one of the characters. So none of the dog shit that you usually see. I mean, just this character alone, I think it cost me £1,000 to get this custom designed and obviously put in and built on mesh. This is what we're going to do. So basically on the NFT platform, on the NFT raise, there's going to be 100 winners, and I'll cover that quickly. Someone's going to mint $1 million. That's one of the prizes. Everyone else, there's 99 other huge winners, and then the rest of them will have a gateway to the NFT launch. So what's going to happen is everyone will start off with a standard bot. Your bot will have XP. Just think of it like, your MP4 on Call of Duty. You can go up the levels and you can obviously improve. So you're going to improve your bot. You can then fight your NFT against another person's NFT. And you can wager, you can bet $10, you can bet $1, you can bet $1,000. Depending on how strong your bot is, will depend on your chances. And it's going to be done by 6 dice rolling. We're actually looking at building a Candy Crush game where you can bet against people as well. Now, all this 1% will be for the house. All of that will funnel back into bulk. Again, creating the ecosystem to try and push bulk forward and forward and forward. So there's so much going on. And I've also got Ball Bank, which I'll take 30 seconds of your time and just explain. So we are looking at trying to get, I've got a compliance team in the UK that are talking to HMRC, and Tron have just released the 30% per year stablecoin yield. What we're trying to do is tap into UK savings and offer 8%, so 2% per quarter. We then give them 8%, and we go and farm it. We either go to Luna for 20% or we go to Tron for 30%. again, whatever we make from that will then go through to feed in the bull run pot, the lottery, the new NFTs launches, and again, create an LP for bulk. So I'll just finish on, if I may, just the NFT, and that's it.
Happy days.
Oh. So much that we could probably
It's quite
talk
interesting.
for.
I mean, I was asking if they want to contact you. Yeah, what's the best way of contact, by the way?
So the best way is to find me on Twitter, check the pinned tweet, join the Telegram group, which I've just noticed quite a few people have joined.
Oh, yeah, and do you do test runs? People just want to try it. They don't want to spend nothing, but they want to try it. Do you offer anything like that?
In terms of the bull bots,
The games or whatever. I mean,
the games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you check, what I'll do is so this is actually on demo and it's on Rinkeby testnet. This is actually going to go live this week, as well as the prediction and as well as the lottery. So you won't have to wait too much longer before you can get to play Bull Run. So yeah, just hold tight, join the Telegram, put us on notifications, and then you should be fine. So if I can just close this out, mate, I probably won't say much more.
Okay.
And I'll leave you to it. And I'll thank you for coming on. So this is just the promo video for everyone. Hashtag mint a million. And I'll leave you with this one. And then I'll stop sharing after. And again, thanks for having me on and
You're welcome. Thanks for
letting me
coming
discuss everything. Cheers, mate. I'll just play this. It's only 1 minute 30. Lovely.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks for that, mate.
You're welcome. Everybody,
Much appreciated.
Thank you for coming on, sharing your moving average strategies and what you've been up to, and you're not obliged to just check it out. Everybody, just check it out, see how it's like. I'll take it from there. Thank you again for coming on, mate.
Lovely. Thanks, mate. See ya.
So, if you guys want to see what it's about, if you like what you see, check it out. If not, leave it. No harm, no foul. So let's carry on now. Oh god. So let's check out some alts now. Okay. So can you guys see my screen again before we continue? Yes, of course. He's a mate of mine, so of course I'm gonna give platforms to people that I think offer something decent. So let's carry on now. Background to this computer shit, so I've got a lot of shit to sort out. But okay, let's go to KNC. I did tweet about KNC. We'll do CL first. So CL we spoke about last week, and it's still in this area here. Okay, so I did say I'm going to cover CL, and this is still holding. So as long as we don't make a clean break below here, I still believe we reach towards here. Take out these stops in towards here, and the more detailed one is in last week's one. So for whatever reason you don't like the range play in this one, you wait for a clean breakout and hold above here, and that's the next play towards at least the 135s. Okay, so that's that there. So give him a check out, Bulla Bitcoin. He's been a mate of mine for a while. I haven't kept up to date what stuff he's been up to. I'm more or less just trade non-stop myself, but I think it's just worth a check. There's other stuff out there people do. Crypto is not just trading part. There's like games people play, and this is staking and all sorts. So just give people a check out. Let's do KNC now. Since I mentioned it, and XO is excited about this one as well. I know he smashed the fuck out of this. I remember he told me first to short it around 5.5, and I wasn't paying attention. But let's look at this now. Let's look at the yearly. We are below last year's open, and see, the thing is that if Bitcoin's going to crash, right, these alts are probably going to get smacked harder, aren't they? There's probably more opportunity. I'm just more stuck in my ways. I prefer the Bitcoin, Ethereum mainly, but you know what? I am more open to these kind of plays. So what I do is, because they're more volatile, I'll go in with smaller size, but it makes up for it. But okay, you're not going to chase it here, by the way. You're not going to be chasing here after this big drop. Let's just break it down first and foremost. So we've got the yearly high, yearly low from last year. That's the markers we got to work with, right? So we got that there. I'm going to mark out 50% of last year, which comes in around about 2.56. I reckon that's where it drops towards. Say 3-ish, okay? So this is going to mark out 2.56, okay? And that's the mid-range. So remember those colors? That's last year's high, last year's low, last year's mid-range. Okay. So we're dealing with in this half now. Is this a deviation? If Bitcoin is going to fall, well, this is probably going to get smacked harder, just like most alts. Like my PYR got stopped out. Okay, I'll go over the reason why I entered. That was pretty obvious in my opinion. I'll go over it again, and the reason why. Before I move on, actually, let me do KNC first, and then I'll do that. As to my long-term thoughts, and my long-term thoughts haven't changed. Like I said, it is where it is. So what we've got now is previous quarterly high. Okay, so we're going to mark that as a key level pivot to for us to work with. So now what I've done is I've split it up into this range, and I split it up into this range. Okay, now we're going to go to the monthly, and all I'm doing is splitting my range to identify where I'm going to trade within. And we're in last year's range, last month's range. So let's see, can last month's range give me anything to work with? So I'm going to mark out last month's high to low. And lo and behold, we're right around the midpoint there. So that midpoint there lines up around the retest area. So there's two ways of doing this now. Now, before even going to the lower time frame, yes, that everything's dumped a lot. Everything's dumped. Some are making new lows. Just wait. Like I said, there's no point picking a bottom until Bitcoin more or less shows you some sort of support. When Bitcoin shows some support, these alts just rally hard, even if it's just a dead cat bounce. Okay, you can make money off of dead cat bounces. Nobody's saying you have to buy and hold. Okay, this is the thing people don't get, which I don't know why. But anyways, our next area is here. Now I either want to be trading the second half, okay, or I want to play the retest. So let's go over the two scenarios now. So scenario one is we get the pullback. Okay, so if we get the pullback, my target's going to be here because that's the bottom of my range. So if we get the pullback, deviate, break down, trigger, in violation wherever the high is, continue clean break below, target, done. Do I want to be chasing it here after this clean low? No, I'm not going to be chasing it here. That's scenario one if it gives me the pullback. If it doesn't give me the pullback, trend continuation. Now before it even gets to my extreme end of the target, I've got target marked out beforehand, which is going to be say the top of this consolidation here. Okay, so scenario two is, well, the trend continuation, ideally a bounce, and then after the bounce, that's the deviation done, prove to me it's a deviation, then the breakdown, that's my short, target 1, target 2, and then ultimately the midpoint of last year, target 3. Is that clear for everybody? So the targets are going to be trigger, target 1, target 2, target. After that, I don't know what happens. Midpoint is often a big level to comprehend, deal with, but that is enough for me. So one, either the pullback, or two, the trend continuation. Can you see why I don't want to short it here? Now I may short it here and it goes my way, but that's not following my strategy. That's just blindly selling in the middle of nowhere. Does that make sense? Everybody clear? The other one was here. I mean, if I had seen it at the time, I probably would have shorted here in validation, but I didn't see it at the time. It is where it is. Now I'm going to do PYR as to why I was stopped. So my entry, I had a different position, and that was based here. Okay, that was there, and the risk reward was good. Okay, if I'm wrong, 9 was my validation regardless. And I said if it breaks that, most likely we're going to head a lot lower. And what I'm saying on Bitcoin is suggesting we are heading a lot lower. Okay. So long term, I still have some of my bag from $3. Okay, Maybe long term is a hold. No, I just wait. I would wait for the market to show me a bottom. Okay, like I said, the bottom will probably be timed with Bitcoin. Now, I could argue this is a key support area here. Okay, this region around here. Okay, but what I'm not comfortable with is what Bitcoin's doing. So no, I probably wouldn't be buying here. Now, I may be wrong. It may be a bottom. It may do its own thing. Who knows? Bitcoin could be close to a bottom. Because some alts start bottoming out before. Everything got wrecked. Not just PYR got wrecked. Okay? Everything's looking the same. So to single out certain individual coins is kind of stupid. But what I would say is, okay, where's my next area then? Okay? My next area would be around this region here. So again, I'm going to see if this region lines up with Bitcoin. Oh, for God's sakes, man, get rid of this fucking twat. Okay, so for my next region is this area here, which is a bit of a pivot point, okay, around the 3 to 4 area region. So if market comes in towards here, I'll start showing me some accumulation, because accumulation takes time. Very rarely V reversal, okay? Show me some time. By then, if I see Bitcoin giving me some evidence there's going to be a bottom in, I'm going to play the same approach, level to level. I'm going to play the long. Target towards here, that's a significant percentage move because it's in such low numbers, and I'll play it towards there. I'm not going to chase the bottom. Let it show me the bottom, okay? If it retest 0, then retest 0. Who cares? Just like every other bag you're holding, it's going to retest 0. Okay? Towards there. If I don't like that play, or for whatever reason, I don't know, don't like it, well, if it deviates and then everything else is starting to show a bottom out, that's a deviation of this range low, and then I can play it from there back towards the midpoint, which is more or less here as first target, then range high as the second target. Target 1, target 2. Now I may be getting on board later on, but I think on some exchanges you can margin play this. But yeah, that's happy. So yeah, it depends on how you want to play it. Next up, what other coin was it? I said gold, didn't I? I did gold. Gold looks fucking shit, doesn't it? Look at that gold. I did take a long here, I got stopped on my long ages ago. Is it around here somewhere? That was technically the short time to switch. I haven't taken this. I've been sidelined until the new month starts. But gold is that key support area, I would argue, here, this region here. I still believe it goes low. If the dollar's going higher, unless I've got good reason to believe the dollar's going to turn, I don't really want a long gold. I would say gold comes down towards here next. ENS, I'll do ENS next. Towards these lows next. Nice clean stops. So there's two plays. One, the underside. So one is let it bounce, and then once it can break back below, that's a flipping area, isn't it? You can see that? Resistance, support. So it breaks below here, and that's my short. Target 1 to target 2. After that, I don't know what happens. Does it do this, or does it do this? I don't know, and I don't care. But this will be my play. Shorting gold below here, towards there. Okay? So that's gold. ENS. I don't think I've ever looked at it. Have I looked at ENS before? Maybe I bought it blindly once. Okay, ENS is not doing too bad, is it? Is there another exchange with more data? Is this the right coin, ENS, or is there a different one? Let me see. Is there another exchange? Some of these more small exchanges have more data to work with. This actually, on its own merit, it's not looking too bad. But the thing is, is this it? Have I got the right one? ENS. I mean, on its own merit, it doesn't look too bad, does it? Looks like it's breaking out. However, with Bitcoin looking the way it does, do I want to take this? Could this do its own thing? Possibly. I don't know. But I mean, at what point would I start saying, okay, you know what, maybe I'll treat it on its own merit? It'd have to be above here, really. Okay? Now, that may mean I'm missing out. If I wanted to long it here, well, then violation would be here then, wouldn't it? Okay? So, that's one way of doing it. I don't know fuck all about this coin. I don't know the FA about it or anything. However, if it does break above here, maybe it does its own thing. And that would say to me, probably going towards there next. I don't know much about this coin, so... But at the same time, would I long it? No, I personally wouldn't because of my views on Bitcoin and it going lower. So I'm not really feeling confident on taking that play. Okay. I mean, what if it is the bottom? Yes, it could be the bottom, but I'm just following my plan, and then this is my plan. Solana's looking like dog shit as well. Everything's looking like shit. Sol, I think $70 next. Okay. As for entry wise, what I would want to see is some sort of pullback. So we come towards here really. This was the old range I was looking at. So a couple of scenarios is if it pulls back towards there, and then starts breaking back down, hang on, let me draw more new levels. Even though this is still valid, let's make it fresh. So let me go over where I got these levels from. This is the same thing I used previously. Go to the quarterly, and I'm using a quarterly range. So if I look at this, this was this quarterly candle high. This was done back ages ago, if you remember. That quarter high, that quarter low, that quarter mid-range, and then I've done a midpoint of that. So that's the next objective. If it goes below there, then it could open the doors to $40, $50. And again, that's not really abnormal for altcoins, is it? Look how many alt cycles you've seen. This is completely normal behavior before new highs, and then back down again, new highs, and then back down again. This is normal altcoin behavior. This is the cycles. You know, as much as it goes up, these fuckers come all the way back down as well. But yeah, so what I would be looking for personally would be, it's similar to Bitcoin, isn't it? Again, one thing is I use is, if I don't get the entry I want, I use the Bitcoin trigger plan for my triggers on these alts. Because if Bitcoin's about to shit the bed hard, what do you think these are going to do? So what I would be doing is, okay, where's the next SR region? I would say around here. Okay. So one is I look for a swing failure of this current high. Pushing towards it, maybe even into there. Give me a swing failure, break back down. If it gives me that, that's my trigger. Play towards here's first target, as that's the trendline support right now. And if it bounces, or if it bounces here, gets back below, holds, well, that's a breakout play then, and Bitcoin probably breaking at the same time. That's my short towards 70.58 to take out these lows. After that, we're coming toward probably around $60 region. Why $60 region? Go to the left. Well, it's basically that high there then, isn't it? And then maybe squeeze towards 44, 45, call it. And then we'll see what happens after that, because that's going to be a key area. If, whether or not it gets there, because that was the previous accumulation area. Okay? Is that clear? Right now here, I don't feel confident. Somebody said, well, if it's a high or low. It could be. I mean, I'm not feeling confident on that right now. Possibly. I mean, if it gets above here, the possibility, but I'm not feeling confident on that now. It's got to be, as long as Bitcoin shows me the bottom, then I'll feel confident on these others. Till then, I'm not. AVAX, I'll do GMT and then AVAX, and then I'm gonna go. Okay. We'll do GMT. Okay. Another one that's just starting to look ripe. Actually, this is not looking too bad. I mean, this has been rightly pumped, hasn't it? But again, no matter if, I don't know much about this coin. I've seen people post about it a lot, but it's looking like a pretty decent short, I'm not gonna lie. Let me look at the monthly and stuff. How long has this been coin out for? Is it a new coin? It's a new coin, isn't it? So okay, let's mark a little. The only thing I've got to work with is previous month's range, and we're about to get below previous month's, or near enough midpoint. So do the same approach as you use all the time. Midpoint, range high, range low, and then use the midpoint. And the midpoint comes in right along there, so that comes in around about 3.093. So let's do that. 3.093. 3.093. Do that in grey. Okay. So this is going to be a key support area we're going to be watching. Now I personally think we come to the top of this range. I'll probably take out last month's low. I personally think we take out these lows here. And I'll probably do one big candle soon. If you're a back holder, you had plenty of opportunity to take profits. Just like me myself, some of my banks I didn't take profits on. Some of them I have. But those that didn't, I still couldn't care. It's long term anyway. But I don't want to short it right down here. Why? We're at the key support area here. But what I would say is, if you can do this, give me some sort of bounce, and then drop below, then that's a beautiful short for me. Target 1, and then target 2. And that's my trigger plan. There. Is that clear? So that's GMT. And finally, let's do AVAX. Okay. This is looking like dog shit as well. I don't want to short in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's had a little bounce, hasn't it? But do I believe it's going to be long, last much? I don't think so. I think it's going to have the same fate as everything else. Unless it is a bottom. I don't know. Maybe these are the higher lows. Higher. Or maybe these are the higher lows. I don't know. But until Bitcoin shows me, by default, I would assume all of them are fucked. So, if it gives me a bounce, now that's probably asking for a bit too much. Looking at this, the way things are looking. But if it does that retest, now this time holds and starts showing some weakness, then that's going to be my short, and I'll play it towards here. Take out these lows. After that, I don't know what happens. Okay. Okay, last one. Nia. Then I'm gonna go. Again, it comes down to what I said. What Bitcoin's gonna do. That's what it comes down to for me. Nia looks shit. I was looking for a long opportunity, but I think we retest this area here next, the 9.08. So yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's bad here. As long as we don't make a clean reclaim above here, that's the next target. Invalidation, a clean reclaim above the 12.037 area. Target 1 and then target 2 here. But this is the main target I'm looking at. Again, this would line up with what Bitcoin's going to do. So as long as we don't make a clean reclaim above here, this is my next target from here. Actually, I might short this. But yeah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Use the link in the description. Use TraderSZ promo code. And I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye.